Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on this radio station.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome to Parenting Hour. You're tuned into Unity FM 93.5, the heart of the city here in Birmingham, over these cold winter days indeed, where we're often sitting at home, hopefully with a cup of coffee or hot chocolate and in the nice heat, and not being out in the cold wind and wet and the rain, etc. We're here with you for the next hour. My name is Kathleen Roche-Nagi, as usual, with you. We're doing a lovely topic this evening, especially interesting to all those ladies, whether you are a mother, a sister, or a friend, because it's about breast care, but also very important for the males to know about this as well. And I think our guest speaker today will talk about that, and the importance for everybody to know about this topic. We are open to emails. This is a pre-recorded session, so you wouldn't be able to phone in. But if you do want to phone in and leave a message or a question or send an email, the email address is studio@unityfm.net, and our phone number is 0121 772 8892. And we look forward to hearing from you indeed. And if you have any requests or want to get to talk to the speaker, if you do phone in or email in, they will be able to pass on her details. And I'm sure there's a lot of you that are keen and interested in this topic, which is something we all need to know about. So we have our lovely guest speaker here in front of me. Her name is Alison Boyd, and she is from Community Breast Care. Welcome, Alison, to the studio.
Hello, Kathleen. Thank you for having me today.
You're welcome. It's really lovely having you. And I know I've spoken to you a while ago about what you were doing, and we actually heard about what you were doing, maybe it was coming up to a year ago now, at an event quite a while ago, and we were very impressed and thought everybody should know about this. Breast care. Why isn't there enough talk about this happening? Why isn't people understanding the importance of this? Why isn't people understanding what garments they should be wearing and where they should be going for breast care? So it's a huge topic.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Have you been doing it long? Very
important. I've been actually doing this now coming up for 3 years. Mm-hmm. I started and got involved with breast care as a fitter, actually, for a large retail department store, where I had bra fitting training. But then I had lots of parents asking me about breast care and if I could go to certain schools and do talks to make the girls more aware, because as you know, young girls will listen to anybody else but their mothers when it comes to advice. And it was after hearing this over a period of a couple of years, I thought, I'll probably Google it, let's have a look, see if anybody does it. Nobody actually does, so hence that's where Community Breast Care came from. So we're not a charity, we're a non-profit organisation, and we rely on funding to go around schools and do breast awareness sessions. The sessions start from the bras, all about the different styles of bras, how a bra should be fitted and worn correctly. Obviously lots of girls now, teenagers and youngsters, are more sporty and involved in activities, and we try and educate them why they need to wear sports bra or a total support bra, to look after their breasts, basically save them from any harm of stretch marks or abscesses or cysts. So we go through all the different styles of bra and the different stages, how our bodies change as we're growing up and going through pregnancy. Again, your bra tends to change, the style of the bra, and we try and educate the girls that obviously under 16 you shouldn't be wearing bones or wired bras, the same as a pregnant lady. Reason being, they can actually stop you growing and developing correctly. And
lots of information there that you give people, and I'm just thinking there's people from our community listen to this topic, and I hope nobody is turning off the radio now thinking this is not for me. Maybe a bit feeling this is unusual. We don't usually talk about this on radio as other topics. Indeed, on our show, on Parenting Hour, we do try to bring topics that are health related and beneficial for people. So we have talked a lot about other health issues and medical issues, including women's issues and men's issues, and how we should be talking and be aware of these things. And it may be one of the times that some of the listeners are thinking, what's happening here today, that this is not for me, and I might want to turn off the radio. But we should advise them, I suppose, this is not something you should be turning off. This is something everybody should be knowing about.
That's it, something that's extremely important, because at the end of the day, as women, if we don't look after our breasts, nobody else will. So we try and educate people, obviously, from the bras right through to breast self-examination. We do talks to community groups as well as schools, colleges, mother and parent groups.
Yeah, and this also for guys, I would think,
that's right.
Although you're focusing on women as your job, which is great, and I think women out there, if you're a mother, a sister, an aunt, a daughter, whatever you are, you need this information. But also the men too also need to be looking after themselves, because they could suffer from lumps and things like that, and they need to be aware of that too.
Breast cancer in the UK affects 1 in 8 women, and for men it's 1 in every 840. So it is extremely important that men also do look after their breasts and do carry out self-examination, just the same as women, on a regular basis. It's normally once a month, and obviously for ladies, the best time to do it is generally 2 days after they finish their trimester, their period, and it's very important that they do it not only standing up but lying down, because not all lumps can be detected standing up, so it is better to lie down as well. And obviously breast cancer isn't just about lumps. There are other signs and symptoms, so we just want to make women aware of what to look for as well as what to feel for.
So you started off working in a career that you realised that nobody, and I'm surprised that there is nobody from the NHS going into schools teaching this topic to young people, to young girls. There, can do segregated classes, whatever, to make sure that the girls feel comfortable and be able to talk about these things. That there's nobody doing this at all. So are we relying on parents to know this and do this topic? Because parents themselves may not know. You mentioned something about underwear, which we'll come back to.
That's right,
yes. Parents may not know a lot of these. What's the difference in different type of undergarments with different type of bras? They don't know the difference. It's like a fashion thing, maybe.
That's right, yeah. So that's why we try and get the parents involved. So every community group that we do, or school that we do say, we can do a separate for parents, or run it alongside, so it's mother and daughter sessions. But I think parents as well don't sometimes realise how, and how important it actually is, and how they actually, if their daughter looks up to them to know everything, but on this particular topic they don't, we don't want them to shy away and think, oh, where can we go? What can we do? Where can we get the information from? Well, Community Breast Care has a website and they can all look up, details on there. But other than that, we are trying to do as many community groups and as many schools as possible, but obviously it does rely on funding. I've had lots of people say to me, really, this should be government funded, but unfortunately it isn't, and all schools too don't actually have the funding for sessions like this. Yet PSHE is so important, and all schools take part and carry out the PSHE lessons.
And this is very much part of the physical.
This is part of that physical, so why isn't it included? But up until we can actually get the government on board, then we will do our best to get as much funding as possible to get round everywhere, and educate as many.
Well done,
that's
for
right.
doing that, and for seeing that this area needs to be discussed and doing something. So there's nobody up and down the country. You're the only person doing this, based here in Birmingham.
That's right.
How lucky we are to have you here, indeed, in Birmingham. And Birmingham would be healthier from that.
Thank you.
Inshallah. What's the website, before we go on, that if people wanted to open the website and have a look at it?
The website is www.communitybreastcare.co.uk.
Great. So .co.uk people, if you wanted to look up that and see things on the website. So if you can talk us through what maybe you would do when you go on into a typical school? How long would they invite you in for? What kind of, time did they give you? What kind of age group of children, pupils there? Do parents come in or not come in? Do they have to sign consent, or do they know about it even? Sorry, a lot of questions.
No, that's fine. Generally, the school gets consent off the parent, sends a letter home. Mm-hmm. Depending on the age of the school, whether it's a primary school or secondary school, will depend on how long the session will last. If it's a primary school and we're talking 10, 11-year-olds, the session then is all geared up for their first bras, how they should be wearing them, why they should be wearing them, letting them know what the support they're actually gaining by wearing, and starting off with the little crop tops and moving into the bra. Those sessions last generally about 30 minutes. It depends. Some sessions will have 10 students in, some will have 20. So again, we try and allocate a 40-minute slot just for the girls who've got questions. But going back to our website as well, we let everybody know that on the website we've got a mascot, and it's a little girl and her name's Daisy. So after each session, if anybody has a question, Daisy's there as an aftercare support line. So girls, mothers, daughters can go and double click on Daisy and ask a question. So if they didn't feel confident in class, or they didn't want to ask in front of the friends, there is an aftercare support line through the website. And the other thing is parents can ask questions as well. It's not just for the girls. We want the parents to obviously be educated on what the daughters are taking in. Then through secondary school, we not only educate on the bras, the style of bras, because it's so important while they're still developing not to wear the wired and the boned bras. We want to educate them that just because it hasn't got a wire or a bone, it doesn't give support. What it does, it gives more support, and they will actually get a lot more growing room, so it will cut costs for parents as well. So they're not going to have to keep buying bras every couple of months as their daughters are growing. But then those sessions move on to breast self-examination. So in general for the secondary schools, from the age of 12 upwards, they generally last about an hour. And in that hour we also show a short film which lasts for 4 minutes, and it's at the end of the session, and it's how to carry out breast self-examination so they can actually see. We have teaching aids as well, where they're false breasts with lumps in, so the girls can actually feel to see if they can find the lumps, see how much pressure they've actually got to put on to find a lump. But we also educate the other signs of breast cancer. That can be a change in a nipple. It can be a discharge from a nipple, crimpling skin, or a rash over the breast. It's so important that girls don't just think it's all about a lump, because it isn't. It's a change within the breast. And we believe by starting with the bra and getting these young girls and mothers to look at themselves in a mirror, they'll become familiar with how their breasts look. So if a change does take place, and they're doing this on a regular basis, they will notice it visually first before they start to feel any symptoms, because quite often there isn't any symptoms. People can just be feeling for a lump and miss things if there isn't a lump. So this is why it's so important. But we've got girls going home now and telling the mothers and fathers, warning the fathers, oh Dad, don't put your phone in your inside blazer pocket if you're at work all day. Move it, put it in your briefcase or on the table. Don't wear it as close to you, because you just don't know. You don't want to potentially put yourself at any risk. There is no actual evidence, that's right, that mobile phones do link to breast cancer. But I have bra fitted 2 young girls at the age of 20, and their consultants have put it down to putting mobile phones within the bras all the way through secondary school. So to me, prevention's it's better than cure. So if I can just persuade one person not to put the mobile phone within the bra, hopefully that will save a life further on. It's all about raising awareness and hopefully getting anybody that does spot a change to the doctors sooner rather than later. So if it is breast cancer, chances are of survival, it's 99% if it's found in the early stages. whereas it halves if obviously it's found much later. So it's all about just raising that awareness.
And prevention there,
prevention.
Which is really brilliant that you're here doing this. I don't know how parents normally do this. I'm sure you've had lots of conversations with different parents. Have you got a feel of what's happening nowadays with parents and young people discussing this, discussing changes and happening, and what is normally done? Like before you came and did your service, what was going on? What
That's
was happening?
right.
Was it a mixed bag of things?
Yeah, I don't think parents do discuss it with the children, not as often as they should. And it was through parents actually saying to me, look, my daughter will listen to somebody else, but they won't listen to me. So you may have that mother and daughter bond, but I think sometimes it's how do mothers approach it with the daughters. You know, some mothers are more outspoken, the same as the daughters, whereas some other people tend to shy away and think, oh, I don't need to do that, the school will sort that out, or somebody else will tell her or him. You know, so I do think it's really important that they can actually go somewhere for this information. You know, so...
Excellent indeed. And are many schools bringing you in?
Yes. No, it's doing really well.
Great.
We've got Catholic school in Nuneaton that have asked us to go back for our second year. That's a secondary school. We've got schools in the local area that we've been doing. We've just managed to get some funding for COSA schools. That's a group of 7 schools to go in. So yeah, it is all good. Obviously those schools that we haven't got funding for, they can actually apply for funding themselves from the National Lottery, from Awards for All. So if their school is interested in a breast awareness session, classes, like I say, we start from primary school years, ages 11 upwards, through to secondary schools to sixth formers. They can actually put in for the funding from Awards for All, and we can actually help them and guide them and give them the information they need to put down on their application. We've got other schools that tend to ask parents to contribute £1 towards a session. So, you know, rather than the school miss out and they still want us to go in, you know, they'll just ask the parents, would they mind contributing? And that just basically, every session we do, we give leaflets for the girls to take home to the parents. You know, one is a reminder how to carry out breast self-examination, and the other is just a list and a reminder of Daisy if there's any questions, and a list of all the services that we do, because we do private bra fittings, pre and post surgery for breast cancer patients, and we do voluntary work within a cancer support centre for those ladies.
Mashallah, you do a lot of things to it, but I just wanted to kind of go over some of those things that you mentioned.
Yes.
So if they were looking for information, it's communitybreastcare.co.uk.
That's right.
And there may be listeners that are working in schools that might want to contact you to that, or there may be listeners that are worked in supplementary schools, weekend schools, madrasas, that are thinking this is really good, or even women's circles, women's halakas that are tuned in, listen to this and thinking, oh, I've never heard of this before, I've never even thought of this before. Am I doing the right thing or not the right thing for myself, not alone for my children? Let me learn a bit about it. And they could contact you through the website, or of course listeners through studio@unityfm.net as well, or ring 0121 772 8892, where you can leave a message for Alison and they'll pass it on to Alison, because this is something that is very cost effective. This is something that is not being offered anywhere else, and as Alison mentioned, it happens so much. 1 in 8 of our women are suffering from cancer. That's a huge. That's very, very high.
Yeah,
very, very high when you think of it.
It's just within the UK, that is. So it is. It's quite frightening. And I've got to admit, when you talk about it in class to the girls and you explain that it's 1 in 8, they tend to look and think, okay, you know, there's 20 in here. Could be 2 of us potentially that will be diagnosed with breast cancer. And that's why we want them girls not to be scared. If they do find anything, it's so important that they seek medical advice, because it may be a hormonal imbalance. You know, it could be a change within the body, but until you get it checked out and go to the doctors, you don't know. But you just don't want to put it off. Don't push it under the carpet and think, oh, it'll go away.
Yep.
It's so important to go and get it checked.
So important. And I think a lot of people do venture away from this and not do any examinations, from my background as nursing many years ago, people just don't feel comfortable and just don't know what to do and think, oh, it's not going to happen to me.
That's
Probably statistics weren't as good those days as they are now, and we know it does happen.
Yeah.
It happens very regularly. It happens. And you mentioned the bit about the mobile phone, so that's a really good tip. I think if anybody's tuned in now that do have a tendency to either keep their mobile phone close to their breast, they should think of moving it away from that area, because even though there's no evidence yet, but we just better to be sure than sorry.
That's right. To be honest, it's quite frightening how many ladies actually keep their phones within their bras.
It used to be many years ago that they keep the purses there, and I think nearly every culture kind of had that process of your private or money or something like that was kept there. But now that's moved on to phones.
It's moved on to phones, which is quite sad, really, because obviously the bra isn't designed to keep your phone in. But when it's that close to the skin, you know yourself, when it's recharging, it's on its own, it gets extremely hot. So you just don't know what that phone is giving off. So to me, just don't do it. Like I said, unfortunately, those two girls that I'd bra fitted at both at the age of 20 were in first year university. One was from Birmingham University and the other one from Swansea University. So, just listening to them basically, and they says if we could give any advice, it would be just to tell as many people as possible, don't put your phone inside your bra. And hence that's why we say to the girls, if your dad wears a jacket for work, or you with your school blazer, don't put it in your inside pocket close to your breast. Try and keep it in your handbag, and tell your fathers to try and keep it in the briefcases or on the table or a different pocket, but not close to them, because you just don't know. I know within the UK, obviously the government, there is no research, but I do know in America there's a lot of research going on because breast cancer is extremely high in the teens. So that's obviously they're researching into that.
It makes common sense, actually, even without research that you think,
that's right.
We shouldn't be doing that. But I think we've all gone through that situation, and even when my boys were in school, I would probably say to them, put it in there, at least it's safe in there.
That's right.
And nobody can pickpocket it, and
it's
take
out
it
the
out of their
way.
pockets. Yes. And I was giving them the wrong advice, obviously. Now I didn't even think about it. And I'm sure a lot of listeners are the same.
That's right.
Thinking, we never thought about that.
You don't, do you? Until actually, you hear of stories and you see stories. I mean, I've got to confess, the first young lady I seen was the one from Swansea University. And this was while I was bra fitting. And when she went out the fitting room, I thought, I'll never hear a story like that again, hopefully. That's just, that's just a one-off. Surely there can't be anything in that. And then to have another young student, lo and behold, within 8 months come in with the same scenario, it's just shocking. And I thought, no, there is something in this. So to me, like I say, prevention is far better than cure. And just keep your phones in other places, ladies, because you don't really want to be putting yourself at risk. There's too much to risk.
It is indeed, and be able to examine. Now, what I liked about what you were saying there is that the lumps, that you have models with you as well.
Yes.
And this would be really good for different groups if they take you on board to teach them about this, because then if you've never felt a lump before, if you haven't come from a medical background, you just kind of don't know what you're feeling, and you don't know if that's a normal lump or an abnormal thing or what's going on. So to have something like that you can actually feel. And be shown how to do a breast examination properly is really important. It's not something that is demonstrated or of course you can't demonstrate on human beings, but you can demonstrate on these models.
That's right.
These models that you bring around with you.
Yeah, they're classed as prothesis, which is a false breast, and they've got a group of lumps in. There's 4 or 5 in different places that I ask the students if they can feel and find. There are also lumps that you can't feel in there, and I use a special light to highlight those once I've done the talk. The reason being, it's okay carrying out breast self-examination. Want everybody to do it. But then the other thing that people shy away from is the mammogram. Now, mammograms you don't get till you're at 50 anyway, but it's so important to make these young girls aware that when they do get the letter in the post, now they are trying to bring it and make it earlier. I think they're doing at the moment 45-year-olds. So they are trying to bring them in earlier, but obviously it's all down to money and cost with the NHS. But if they're not, then once they do get called, they must go, because it could be something that you can't feel, you can't see. And with this prothesis, there are lumps in there that you can't see, but then there's obviously a change going on, and it's only something like a mammogram that would highlight those cluster of lumps, because they're non-feelable. They're only shown and detected under a certain light.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that. We're coming into a commercial break now, and after the break I want to talk to you more about the different types of bras that you spoke about, and why some ones are not suitable for young people to be wearing. I think it's a really important topic for people, for everybody to know that. So listeners, inshallah, do tune into us after this commercial break, when we're going to get more advice from Alison here with me in the studio today, talking about breast care from Community Breast Care. And if you want to know more and you have a chance over the break, do go to communitybreastcare.co.uk and look up the website. But we're coming back after this, inshallah, to continue our conversation. Assalamu alaikum.
Any advice given on Unity FM relating to health conditions must be verified by your doctor. General diet and physical and spiritual well-being is discussed on shows, but this is general only. If you have any medical condition or need medical advice, please consult a doctor.
Assalamu alaikum. You're tuned into Unity FM 93.5, and this is Parenting Hour. We've had a very good conversation for the first half of Parenting Hour with our guest speaker Alison Boyd, who's here from Community Breast Care and telling us all about the importance of breast care. We discovered that Alison is the only person in the country, in the whole of UK, doing this. So aren't we lucky, Birmingham? I'm sorry, Luton, our Luton listeners, that you don't have the service down in Luton, but do keep tuning into us, because we're always also on air in Luton at the moment on Inspire FM 105.1. If you do want to know anything further down there and want to be in contact with Alison, she has her website that we gave out the website already, which is communitybreastcare.co.uk. She also have a Facebook page, you were telling me, Alison, over the break there.
And again, that's Community Breast Care on Facebook, and we're on Twitter.
You're on Twitter as well?
So yes.
And your hashtag on Twitter?
It's CBC.
Great.
Yes.
So we'll find you there. And of course, listeners, if you forget all of that and want to call the studio, the number is as usual 0121 772 8892, or if you want to email, it's studio@unityfm.net. And I think a lot of people should be interested in this topic, because, you know, it's something that will affect 1 in 8 girls, as we're saying, with cancer, but even not cancer situations or other situations affect more. And also the boys as well, and the young men. It's something for everybody. And parents, it is a responsibility to educate ourselves around this topic, as well as everything else that we try to learn, to pass on information to our children, to our friends, to our relatives, to our sisters, to our aunts, so that we are there to be able to help and support them. It may be a coffee morning that you're having out with a friend, and she might start mentioning something to you discreetly, and because you've heard this program, you actually have knowledge and know what to do and where to go. So
that's
really good that we should be listening in and learning about these topics. So Alison, you talked a lot before the break around this and the importance of doing it, and the examinations and etc. that we're doing, and what you do in your work. You mentioned there something that I was a bit intrigued about, and I thought I'd come back to that. You're saying young girls shouldn't be wearing underwired bras. You know, there's the new ones
that
right. Are underwired or bone bras.
Or bone bras.
And they shouldn't be wearing these. Can you tell us a little bit more about this? Because parents might think, now this is the fashion now, they want to wear this, they come home and say, oh, the girls in this class are wearing these, we change for PE, if I'm not like them I'm a bit different, although I'm trying to change discreetly, but maybe I'm teased or something else, or they're just trying to experiment. They see advertisement and they think, oh, this is nice, I want to buy this for myself, you know, nobody else can see it, but I'm covered anyway, and my whole area is covered, but it's for me, I want to wear this, so I can do this. But you're saying there's a health reason why not?
There is a health reason. Under 16 you're still growing and developing, If you're wearing bones or wires, you can't really allow for any growing room. So your growth spurts are generally every 3 to 4 months if you're under 16. So therefore, if you suddenly have a growth spurt, the bone that goes under your armpit can actually end up resting on your breast tissue. So hence that's why we don't want any bones resting on the breast tissue.
That's from the brassiere itself.
That's from the bra itself. Yes, that's what's actually in the bra. Ideally the bone needs to be sitting back on your rib cage, just under your arm. And I always say to girls in sessions, feel if you've got bone bras on today or wire bras on today, use your 2 thumbs and give yourself a little wobble under the arm to make sure that the bone is actually sitting on bone on your rib cage. Whereas if it's sitting on your soft breast tissue, that can cause medical issues like abscesses and cysts. So that's one of the reasons why. And again, at the front of the bra, we want all your breasts covered and supported. If you suddenly have a growth spurt, your breast will start to come out of the cup, and that will show you that the bone underneath as well is going to dig in because your breasts are getting fuller. So it's better to go for the non-wired bra. They'll always have a little bit more room, and then you can allow for a little bit more room at the front of the bra as well. You want about 1 inch in each cup really, half an inch to 1 inch. So it's that little bit too big, but once the straps are tighter, nobody will know that it's too big. But again, it's hard to say on radio. The bra needs to be sitting horizontal all the way round, so the back of the bra doesn't go across the shoulder blades. Because again, if it goes up and across the back of the shoulder blades, your breasts will droop forward because there's no support from the band there. There's lots of information, but under 16, non-wired bras are going to be a lot better, and they will be more supportive.
And we're telling that for the health reasons, because we just mentioned about that. So if they're there, and if they do press on tissue, etc., what kind of harm could that cause?
It can cause an inflammation in the skin, so it can cause an infection like an abscess or a cyst. This is why if daughters do insist on wearing the boned and wired bras, they need to be checked every 4 to 6 months to make sure obviously that the bra is sitting where it should be sitting. There is only really one retailer within the UK that specialise in fitting under 16s. I don't know if I'm allowed to advertise those, but you've only got to go to a high street retailer and just say, do you specialise in bras for under 16? Or you could Google the Angel range. And you'll see then that they do actually specialise in bra fittings for the under 16s.
And you were talking about the way it should be horizontal and on the back and placed, and I presume that's also helped for posture.
For posture purposes, yes.
So if they weren't fitted properly, what would happen to their posture? What would be going on for them there?
They would start to lean forward, and obviously the fuller the breast, the heavier the breast, so they will stoop forward even more. So that's why again it's really important that the actual bra does sit horizontal all the way round from under the breast round. You don't want it going across the shoulder blades, because again the fuller the breast, and if the breast isn't covered at the front, they will be susceptible to stretch marks. So again, this is why it's really important to get the bra fitted. Even if you just go once to get an idea of how you should fit, or come to one of our sessions. If you see our sessions advertised anywhere, this is what we actually do. We can do private one-to-one sessions if need be.
And then there's also susceptibility, I assume, if that's happening, that you could have back pain from
That's
this,
right, yes.
which is a serious complication.
Oh, yes, definitely. It can cause all sorts of problems with the back. So, no, you want the correct support. And again, one without the wires, those bras tend to be fuller cupped. So, again, that will give a lot more support than the one with the bones in.
So parents, if you're taking your child along or your teenager or young person along and having these conversations with them, now you're getting the advice here of what are the best ones to go for. So it's not the fashionable ones, it is the more practical ones.
More practical. Then they could have the pretty ones if they're going somewhere to a wedding or they've got something special on.
So a ladies only event where they may be able to
wear a pretty,
wear pretty dresses, something like that, where they want to dress up more prettier, then they could have these things would be more available for them for doing something like that.
And you can get pretty non-wired bras anyway. Most of the girls, they generally come in 2 packs. You'll normally get one floral and one plain. So you do get pretty bras, even those without the wires. So, it's not ruling it completely out. Sometimes you can't actually tell until you feel the bra. Has it got wires or bones? And those are the really good ones for the teenagers because they do look like they've got them, but they haven't. So that helps with the peer pressure side of things as well.
So there's a whole practicality about this, and it is something that we need to be discussing a bit more, and for the health of our young people as they grow up and as they develop and as they get married and having children. And that's another area, isn't it?
That's
so we're talking
right,
about
yes.
The puberty and the growing up area in the young people. So then when they do get married and have children, then what advice do you give them around that?
Well, generally for women, your bra fitting should be every 6 to 12 months anyway. So you should always get your bra fitted and checked. You are never one bra size. You are different size bras from different stores, different coloured bras. Your black bra will come up generally about 1 inch to 2 inches smaller and tighter than a white bra. The black dye is quite coarse, so it has like a shrinkage effect, so there's not as much elastic. So again, it's really important that every bra you buy, you try before you do buy it. If you was unfortunate to have a bra fitting and you're not happy with the bra fitting, don't just buy a bra because you feel pressured into doing so. Just say, no, I don't feel comfortable, so I'm not happy in buying that. But no, there is all different styles, different shapes. But yes, it's generally every 6 to 12 months for a lady. But then moving on, and obviously moving on to having a family, it's very important to get a bra fitting as soon as you find out you're pregnant. Because again, ideally you need to come out of those wires and bones to start wearing a non-wired bra that gives your breast time to grow and produce the milk for your unborn baby. When the bones are there, your breasts aren't going to produce that milk as much. And again, it can cause medical issues because they're actually blocking the ducts that produce the milk. So you can be susceptible to mastitis, that's right. Thank you for that.
No problem, because I know well what that is like indeed.
Thank you.
And you don't want anybody susceptible to that indeed, or prone to that.
Very, very painful.
Yes,
very,
very, very painful. And I think we've talked about it before here on one of the programmes where we were talking about breastfeeding, and we brought it up and how to the treatment for that. So it is very, very painful indeed. So so we need to go back a step of looking at the underwear you're wearing, which could prevent that in the first place.
That's right, stay out of the wires and the bones because that will prevent you from obviously getting mastitis. Again, it's one of those, don't put yourself at risk. But at the same time, during pregnancy, it's recommended that you have a bra fitting every trimester, so it's every 4 months. But what I say to ladies is, again, when you go and get bra fitted, make sure you've got that room inside the cup. So as your breasts are getting larger, you'll be able to slacken off your strap, so it gives you that little bit more room. So you haven't got to buy a bra every 3 to 4 months. It will last that little bit longer. So hopefully you've got your start, your middle and your end, but always towards the end then you will, as once you've had your baby, you'll go back into those bras that you first purchased.
Which is really good, because
So
they are quite expensive.
Definitely, it's worth keeping them because as you start to shrink in size, you'll go back down into those bras. So yes, it is. It's very important, really, throughout the different stages of our lives, to look after your breasts and to get bra fitted.
Wonderful.
So going back to pregnancy as well, every woman has got one breast larger than the other. So
normally wise.
Normally, yes, everybody has got one breast larger than the other. Some ladies it could be 1 inch or half an inch, and some it can be 2 or 3 inches difference in size. So again, it's really important that you get that growing room and always fit your fuller side. When you're first going to try the bras on, just loosen off the straps before you try putting a bra on. And it might be an idea to have your daughter with you or a friend with you that can actually adjust your straps once you've got your bra on. And again, every woman has got one shoulder higher than the other, same as every man has. So you don't actually adjust your straps to the same. Lots of ladies tend to get a new bra, put the straps together and alter them so they're the same. You don't do that, because one shoulder being higher than the other, it will make either one strap really tight and the other strap really loose, so you'll keep losing it off your shoulder. So just some tips.
So important information there that we never would notice.
No, that's right.
So yes, people might be thinking, why have I got one shoulder? But that's normal for us.
That's normal.
We're created like this,
That's
know.
right.
We don't think about this. We all know we're created differently, but we think we're symmetrical.
That's it, and we're not. No, and this is really good. So when I do go into schools and I start educating the girls, I'll always make them aware, because it's quite surprising how many girls look like they've had a weight taken off the shoulders because they think there's something wrong with them because they've got one breast larger than the other. So when I start talking about their breasts and about them developing, I will always make them aware that, it's natural to have one breast larger than the other, and not to feel worried, and not to think, can I mention it or can't I mention it, But they don't realise as well about the shoulder, so I'll always point that out to them as well. And I've got a mannequin that I take along, and that replicates the lady. So, and again on the mannequin, it's got one breast larger than the other, one shoulder higher than the other, so they can actually see, and visualise how the bra should fit and how it should be worn. With the young girls, especially the 10 and 11-year-olds, and they're starting off wearing their little crop tops, as their breasts are growing and developing, again, it's really important that it's fully covered and supported. Going back, I had one young girl who had been referred to hospital, and it turned out it was for growing pains. Reason being, her mum had taken her daughter to the doctors with severe pains in her breasts, and when questioned, the actual young girl did lots of physical education, so she was doing aerobics, horse riding, dancing, but she wasn't wearing any form of support at all. And just by wearing a little crop top, that will ease growing pains, and it will introduce the young girls of how a bra will feel a little bit later on. But it's giving them that support to help them cope with those pains. So, the bra does have a lot to answer for, really. So if she'd have realised about getting her daughter into a little crop top or a bra, she wouldn't have had to be referred to hospital, and told, it's just growing pains, because there's nothing worse than feeling really embarrassed about something silly. But it's asking and it's finding out information, and I don't think there is enough information out there. So that's what we're trying to rectify.
Definitely not. I think over the years I've seen some leaflets maybe about how to do breast examinations and the way to start and the way you should be placing your fingers, etc. and getting that. But some diagrams, some leaflets, I have never come across anybody that actually ran a little workshop on this and brought mannequins, and that you could actually feel what it's like and feel for those lumps, and to know this education about what to have fitted on for your underwear and why different ones work differently, and that. So that's really, really important. It's a really valuable person you are here to us in Birmingham. And I think we should all know about this and be able to spread the message on. And of course, we mentioned before about your website and Facebook. There is more information there on those.
There is a lot more information. If I can just add in as well, like I said before, I still do bra fittings for pre and post surgery ladies who've had breast cancer. And again, it's recommended to those ladies, if they've had breast cancer, not to wear wires or bones, because that can actually infuriate lymphedema, which is obviously the fluid within your breasts, and that's what we don't want, for that fluid to get trapped and cause swelling in the arm.
Yeah.
So, it's highly recommended again that if anybody out there has had breast cancer, try and do stick to a total support non-wired bra, and that will help reduce the risks of lymphedema.
So you especially go in and talk to these people
That's
in
right.
the NHS, which is wonderful, because we all tend to know somebody in Humdel, most of the people I know that has come through it, for the people I know, but it is more common now, and we need to have that education, and people feel embarrassed about asking as well about that, no matter what age you are. It's a topic that is very embarrassing from a young age up to a lady in her 80s or 90s, and it affects everybody.
Oh,
it affects us all, and it's not just ladies here, of course. It affects the men as well, and affects not the husbands of their wives, but also men themselves need to know something about breast care, because they can go through changes as well. I know of a young boy that did have a cyst when he was going through puberty, and that was just picked up from him kind of noticing that himself. But so it is important that we are aware of
definitely
these things.
It's like when I mention it in schools, the young girls laugh and say, is it because the men have got boobs? So, and I say no, because I actually know a boxer who had a breast cancer scare, but thankfully it wasn't. So it can be the fittest and the leanest person. Breast cancer can affect anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. I think the oldest lady that I actually bra fitted was 93, had just been diagnosed with breast cancer. So it doesn't matter about age, religion, anything. Breast cancer's out there, unfortunately, but what we can all try and do is learn and make ourselves more aware, to get early diagnosis, basically. So if there is a problem, it can be treated sooner rather than later.
Brilliant. And as you're summarising there, and we're coming towards the end of this show, maybe you could give some people some tips around what to do. So if there's a mum listening into this now, and she's got a 13-year-old and an 18-year-old and a 21-year-old, what should she be doing
now? First of all, if they've never had a bra fit, probably take their daughters on a nice mother and daughter shopping day and have a nice bra fitting. And then obviously talk to them, explain to them, we need to discuss this as a family, because it can affect anybody. They could have had an auntie with breast cancer or any, a nan or something like that. Rather than just shy away from it, talk about it, ask the daughters if they've got any questions. Probably before you speak to your daughters, try and find out a little information yourselves. Again, you can either call Community Breast Care, look us up on the website, the phone number's on there. Or again, you can Google anything these days, but just something to help you to explain to your daughters. But again, if you've got schools that you think that your daughters would, go to and they'd be interested, again, go and see the teachers, speak to them and let them know that this service is out there and we can talk to them for you. And then hopefully, as daughters do, they'll come home and tell you, Mum, you should be doing this. Do you realise you've got to do it standing up as well as lying down? Because not a lot of people realise that they need to be doing it standing up and lying down. So it does make a difference.
Great. And what's the recommended breast examination periods that we should be doing it?
Okay. Generally, breast self-examination, the best time to carry it out is 2 days after your trimester ends, so that's your period. And then obviously for ladies that don't have periods, they should stick to a day, the same day every month. So say the 10th, mark it on your calendar, the 10th of every month, this is the day when I'm going to carry out my breast self-examination, and you do it every month the same day.
So you're keeping a record of that, or looking at that, even
That's
if it's a
right.
mental record. You're not writing it down, but you're mentally recording this.
And if they do find something on one side, say a lump or anything, do check the other side, because sometimes it can be hormonal and it can be, a natural lump. So do just check the other side as well and see if you've got the same lump in the same place. But any doubt whatsoever, you go and tell your doctor and you get referred straight away.
Straight away,
and
make that appointment. And I feel a lot of people may feel embarrassed and think, okay, I can't do that. I can't talk to my doctor and put off that appointment, or it's only a little thing. It'll go away and just forget about it.
Yeah.
So the message today is really
the message is that's it. Do not forget it. Your doctors are so used to this now, with it being 1 in 8 within the UK for women, and obviously 1 in every 840 men. So no, don't be embarrassed. Don't be shy. Don't be put off. You go to your doctors because they are more than used to coping with this now.
So anything you find, listeners, any changes, anything you find, please go to your doctor. Pass on this information to your friends, to your aunties, to your sisters, to your daughters, to your mothers. Pass it on. Try and get people talking about this and the importance of understanding this, because it's not a taboo subject. It's a medical condition that can happen. A medical disease that can happen to anybody, whatever religion, whatever ethnicity, whatever background we are from, and there is people like Alison that can go into schools and help. So it was really, really great having you here today, reassuring us about all of this and teaching us and bringing up this topic. And if people are interested, as you said, they can go on your website, they can get more information, and you can go in and give them a talk in different areas. Is your boundary just Birmingham, or what about our poor Luton listeners?
No, again, they can contact me and we can, sort something out for those. There is no boundary. The same with breast cancer. There is no boundary. So the more people that know, the better. And the more lives we'll save together.
MashaAllah, you can see how passionate Alison is about this topic. Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us.
You're
and
very
spending
welcome.
some time with it. And I hope, inshallah, by raising awareness, our intention here today is that we are raising awareness of this and trying to save lives and save valuable lives there of a mother, daughter, sister, whoever it is. All life is valuable indeed. So inshallah, listeners, do try and take on this information as best possible and pass it on. It was lovely being with you this week. I hope, inshallah, you're able to tune into us next week, where we have another important topic indeed, another important show. And inshallah, if you want to hear more information about this show, or ask anybody, or send in an email or phone in, please ring in the studio at 0121 772 8892 or email studio@unityfm.net. If there's a comment or something that you would like us to pass on, or something about this topic, we'd like to have your feedback as well. So please do use those means and give us some feedback as to how you found today's show also. Thank you, listeners. Have a great week, inshallah, and I hope that nobody you know or in your immediate circle or wider beyond is affected by any of the topic that we're talking about today, and that Allah will give us all good health, inshallah, and long lives, inshallah. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum.
Any advice given on Unity FM relating to health conditions must be verified by your doctor. General diet and physical and spiritual well-being is discussed on shows, but this is general only. If you have any medical condition or need medical advice, please consult a doctor.